is Hanifin an integral piece to that team now? If you're paying him 7.5, it sounds outrageous, but he's playing huge minutes right now. He's playing quite well. And if you lose him, who's filling that hole? I think you can lose Tanev because he's on the back end, and he's
Right.
your fourth best defenseman. And he ain't going to chew up a bunch of minutes, and he's a hit away from being retired.
Right.
I think Markstrom is a massive asset that you should trade. I just think you should, because you're going to end up with the Buffalo scenario. But I just think my expectations that the return for Markstrom would be so good that you need to do it. But do you keep Hanifin? And what do you need to get in return for Hanifin that allows you to let him go? Because if you get rid of him, you have what do you have? You got two defensemen for next year.
They got two under contract. They got Weegar and Anderson. That's a nice top pair, but you can't expect to go fill 4 holes on a blue line and be anything close to respectable.
And I think the way they're playing, they can lose. I think they could trade Lindstrom and Markstrom and get big returns, and I don't think they're going to fall back that far.
Well, I guess my argument would be, you're right, 2D under contract for next year. So in the trade, if it's dollar in, dollar out, you're going to probably get a younger D back or somebody in the system that's ready. So I don't know. Do you look at organizations that have depth and a guy that's pushing through and go, I want your top defenseman prospect because he's going to come play for us and push through? Or is it a guy that has pushed through that's 21, 22 and a team's in win now mode? So they're like, okay, we're going to have to give up the future for win now. Ken Holland came out the other day and said it as much. He's like, we're in win now mode. We're not building for the future here. I don't know Broberg. I don't even know what the hell he is as a player, to be honest. I've watched him, not overly physical. I think he's a good skater and he's a good puck mover, but I don't know what that translates to. Is that a 4? Is that a 5? Is that a 6 on the back end? But that's who you're dangling. So other organizations might have the equivalent of the Brobergs and guys like that you go, okay, I'm going to trade Hanifin for a first and a top prospect, a Broberg type. Or I'm using Broberg as an example, but because all these top teams don't want to give up, if it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're not giving you Matthew Nyes for it. They're not giving you, they're a guy who's in their lineup who they are going to rely on. They're going to have to ship out some dead wood, some contracts that are on LTIR or, something like that. So you have to be creative. But there's a marketplace and it depends on how creative you want to be. If you want to if you can make Jacob Markstrom a $4 million goaltender for the next 2 years, and you decide can you imagine what you'd get for him?
Should be all, wouldn't it?
Months and
couple
months.
Firsts.
Yes,
let's go.
Firsts. I'm talking 2 firsts, and I'm talking maybe a top prospect and 2 firsts to have a starting goaltender for 3 playoff runs
at that dollar figure. Yeah, because everyone's up against the cap. I'm totally with you, Noodles.
Yeah.
All right, finish that thought.
No, I was just going to say, but that's again, if you've got to make those moves, and if you're Craig Conroy, you have to be bold, because what if this team is in that wild card spot and you're feeling really good and everything's kind of settled and you're getting closer to the trade deadline? Like, I'm pulling the trigger because I'm not losing a guy for free.
And that's why I think he needs to be bold right now and do it sooner, because I think he backs. It's better for your return, but if your team, it's not going to be better optically in the community if your team is on the cusp of making the playoffs or in that hunt, and you're wait to the trade deadline and dump some guys and now don't make it. What are you doing? You can't do that to us. Like, that hurts the fan base. Whereas if you do it now, you still can sell it as we're improving, but we have to make the right decisions. We can't risk screwing this up.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.